Infidelity's Consequences, exploring Reddit narratives. Greetings and thank you for joining us at Smosh Reads Reddit Stories. I'm Shane, and today we delve into a genre that evokes strong feelings, infidelity. And I am accompanied by two individuals who share a deep disdain for betrayal. It's unsettling, yet I find myself here with my wife. Indeed, this is my beloved. For some reason I find myself descending. We've explored the topic of infidelity in previous episodes, and I must confess, whenever I stumble upon a Reddit story related to it, I find myself completely captivated. Although my heart aches for those individuals. It's truly unfortunate. The tension is ever present. It's disheartening how prevalent it has become. Indeed, it seems that nearly everyone experiences a similar journey at some stage in their lives. Everyone experiences betrayal at some point in their lives. Indeed, and if not in a partnership, much like the anticipation felt during an intoxicated school exam. That's wonderful. Alright. You all just don't like. Oh dear, during one of my tests, my friends and I created a playful imaginary language. I ended up taking the test late and discreetly noted all the answers on my arm. As I stepped inside, their curious eyes met mine and I could sense the intrigue in the air. What's that? They asked, a hint of wonder in their voices. And I find myself in a state of uncertainty. That's truly wonderful. And then I found a way to excel and achieved a perfect score. There comes a moment in the act of unfaithfulness on a test where it transforms into something unexpectedly captivating. Without a doubt. The way you deceived rather than truly grasping the knowledge you were meant to demonstrate. Indeed, that embodies the essence of thoughtful reflection. A fresh way to express oneself. Indeed, that holds a depth of allure beyond anything you might have discovered. My heartfelt gratitude to you. And there it is. That's a profound life lesson that transcends anything I thought I was understanding. And you see, it slipped away from us. Indeed. Consider this, if they truly desired distance, those desks wouldn't be positioned so closely together. That resonates deeply. Indeed. Well, our conversation will primarily revolve around the complexities of romantic infidelity. Excuse me? What was that? Is that something people actually engage in? Indeed. It seems there is quite a bit to explore. Unpleasant. So they inscribe it on their arms, do they? Shall we embark on our first tale together? Without a doubt. Alright. I am prepared. Let us begin. Am I in the wrong for feeling deeply troubled that my wife is assisting her friend in being disloyal to her husband? Spouse, companion is assisting, partner. I am present. Opie is sharing that his wife is assisting her friend in a secretive relationship with another man. You've drawn away from me once more. There's a man reaching out, sharing that his wife is assisting her friend in a delicate situation involving infidelity. I am present. Alright. You're aware of my appreciation for the beauty in visuals. We've discussed this before. Indeed. I must capture its essence. Not long ago, my wife and her friend embarked on a weekend getaway, a notion that felt perfectly acceptable. It seems the friend wasn't truly eager to embark on the journey. She was about to meet a man, her closest companion, her kindred spirit. It seems these two have been exchanging messages for quite some time now. My wife was unaware of this at first, but eventually discovered it and shared her thoughts with me. Yet she chose to overlook it as it was not our concern. We chose to keep it from the husband. It was an unexpectedly intriguing experience. I am completely unfamiliar with the husband. I have only just begun to explore the depths of this friendship. I found myself reflecting, this isn't my show, nor my performers. Allow me to share something with you. A friend has invited my wife on another journey, offering to cover around $3,000, seemingly with the intent to indulge in secretive escapades once more. My wife was filled with pure joy at the thought of embarking on a complimentary adventure. She will be the comforting presence for her friend in a moment of betrayal. Oh, sweet little pup. Am I in the wrong for feeling a deep sense of betrayal, for being overwhelmed with emotions that make our marriage feel like a cruel joke, and for contemplating its end? If she and her friends treat marriage so lightly, supporting one another in deception, what does that say about the bond we share? I find myself contemplating the moment when I can gently express to my wife that she has the freedom to choose her own path, yet every choice carries its own weight. And when she comes back for that weekend of indulgence, the locks will be changed, and the divorce papers will be waiting on the front door. Delightful. Alright, dear. Alright. I can feel the depth of his perspective. Indeed. It makes me wonder, would she embrace this connection if she feels so aligned with what's unfolding here? Absolutely. Indeed, that reflects a quality that she seems to lack, or perhaps she is indifferent to her friend's absence of it. Indeed. It's easy to think, oh, she's disloyal, but ultimately that's her choice to make. It's one thing to say, I will accompany you on this journey, to be your support while you navigate this delicate situation with your husband. That is an entirely different creature. Indeed, that's where it ventures into a realm best left untouched. Not quite, even if it holds a certain allure, 3K. Not for the allure of wealth. Is she really receiving 3K for this? That she is likely to spend around $3,000 with the intention of indulging in a relationship once more. Ah, so the getaway comes to $3,000. The getaway is complimentary. Indeed. And the wife remains unrecognized for her contributions. The wife is not receiving her due compensation. It seems that it's not meant for 3K. In that case, certainly not. But you're receiving a $3,000 getaway at no cost. Yes. To accompany this dear companion. Indeed, you have a point. In many situations, it feels best to respect the boundaries and allow others to navigate their own connections, as I am not part of that intimate space. There are moments when I find myself pondering the complexities of relationships, especially when it comes to friendships with couples. If you discover that one partner is being disloyal, do you feel a sense of duty to intervene and share what you know? My perspective on that is always layered, as the intricacies of the relationship remain known only to those within it. And if you enter with this knowledge and they choose to remain together and marry, then wonderful, you're at this wedding, feeling the weight of complexity, or perhaps realizing that your friendship has shifted. It's a delicate situation, isn't it? When you're aware of someone's betrayal, what role do you take in that intricate dance of emotions? It seems to vary with each situation, doesn't it? I'm uncertain. This is a new experience for me, and I find myself uncertain about what my preferences might be. Indeed. It's challenging for me to envision, as I find it difficult to imagine any of my friends betraying their partner's trust. Indeed, if a close friend were to reveal something as surprising as infidelity, I would feel a deep sense of responsibility as their friend. It would be essential for me to gently encourage them to share the truth with their partner. Consider this a gentle suggestion from someone who cares about you. Indeed, it seems clear to me that she isn't engaging in that behavior in this situation. No, she's embracing the contrary. As your friend, it's my role to gently guide you, to remind you of the things you need to embrace. To keep you in check, indeed. If they respond with indifference, it would shift my perception of them entirely. You indeed. This feels like a revelation. You are not the person I imagined you to be. Without a doubt. Now this is clearly beyond that. We're delving into something much deeper. We're discussing a $3,000 getaway. The interplay between the wife and her friend is intriguing, yet it's the husband's feelings that truly resonate, leaving him in a state of unease. What does this signify? I believe this is leaping ahead of what he truly needs to address first, which is to have a heartfelt conversation with her, expressing, I have a significant concern about this. If you choose to do this, I can't help but wonder, who are you really? But that would be akin to engaging with her while the car glides gently at 10 miles an hour. This woman is cruising at 60 on the freeway, and he's caught off guard. Oh, just a moment. Indeed. It seems to me that she is already putting in a lot of effort. It feels as though the moment may have slipped away to share my thoughts with her, yet I find myself uncertain about when the right time might truly be. It's intriguing how this seems to be something you would naturally understand about your partner, isn't it? It's important to address values openly, and if they haven't yet explored the concept of loyalty in friendships and relationships, this might come as a surprise to him. He may find himself thinking, oh, I didn't know that this didn't hold significance for you. It seems that if they are married, there should ideally be trust and fidelity between them. Yet, this situation is stirring doubts within him. The introduction of this friend has opened a door to the idea of excitement and adventure, leading her to ponder the possibility of exploring something thrilling like that. I noticed the wife and friend rationalizing the situation, suggesting that the friend's husband has been neglectful or unkind. In moments like these, I can sense the complexity of the dynamics at play, leaving us in a state of uncertainty. I still feel that this isn't the right approach. A more fulfilling solution awaits beyond this. A more fulfilling answer awaits. There is often a more fulfilling path, even if it leads to separation, and this situation is steeped in a lack of transparency. If I were in this husband's shoes, I believe I would be experiencing those same feelings. I'd feel a rush of fear. Absolutely, without a doubt. The conclusion was that they were not in the wrong. Thoughts not in the wrong. Inquire with your wife whether she would prefer to be informed if there were any doubts about your fidelity. Fair, and the response is always an eager affirmation. Another thought, my friend, it seems your wife finds joy in enabling infidelity, and that reveals much about her character, none of it being positive. If you believe your wife would never betray your trust, then you might be more naive than a soft pillow. Is it a mattress shaped like a baguette? Now where might that be, Link? Absolutely reveal it to us. Reveal to us the mattress baguette. Is it a mattress, or could it be a baguette? I believe it's an impressively large baguette. Ultimately, you are not in the wrong. It may be time to part ways. If she is willing to help someone else in their deceit, you can be sure she wouldn't hesitate to ask her friend for the same favor. I wonder what might happen if he approaches her and expresses, I have a significant concern about this. Please let's not go down this path, it makes me uneasy. She replies softly, you know what? You're right. I think I'll just let it go. Is that sufficient? At this moment, it feels as though you were completely open and eager, embracing the experience without hesitation. Now that you understand my concerns and have toned it down, do I still hold that trust in you? It feels like a moment meant for two, where the need to navigate through emotions arises and she suddenly realizes, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I shouldn't, but I find myself thinking, well, I'm pleased you've come to your realization, let's navigate this together. Let's return to the mattress baguette. Absolutely, we're holding on to that moment, letting it linger just a bit longer. I long for the other comments to embody a playful spirit, like a mattress baguette. Indeed, as if all of this holds no significance, what is that? Our producers have searched for mattress baguette, but it seems there are no results to be found. I find myself captivated by the art of crafting spontaneous similes and metaphors, relishing the act of giving them names. Our upcoming episode is titled Mattress Baguette Stories. And we are returning once more. Could it be a mattress? Could it be a baguette? Is it grand? Is it subtle? Is it crafted from a soft mattress and a classic baguette? We hold questions that yearn for answers. We can bring this to life. We are capable of achieving this together. We can create something beautiful together. This is bound to resonate deeply. In response to the question, my first thought was to affirm that it is indeed sufficient. After all, we are human, and it's natural to have our imperfections in moments of unawareness. And it can be, I believe, a moment of simply losing oneself in the presence of this friend. As you mentioned, that truly revealed a deeper understanding, like when your closest friend confides, my husband is falling short and he's involved in all these matters, XYZ. I find myself wondering just how deep that journey extends along the spectrum. Yet she expresses, I had this incredible experience with someone and I truly need your support and guidance. And yes, perhaps she could have found clarity a bit sooner and expressed something like, hold on, this feels a bit wild. If there are challenges in the relationship, perhaps we should consider discussing a separation before exploring the possibility of inviting another man into our lives. But perhaps she was becoming enveloped in that moment, simply saying, okay, I'm here for you. Perhaps there's a certain joy in it, a playful allure that draws you in. And then it just took her partner to gently remind her that someone was feeling pain. And then she responds, oh my goodness, you have such a point. There is undoubtedly a path to take that embraces kindness and consideration for others. Absolutely, I find that with each Reddit story, unless it's truly extreme or perilous, my instinct is always to suggest having a conversation with them. That's a constant flow of connection. Engage in the dialogue initially. Endless connection. Your response was brief, and it's likely that many will chime in with their own thoughts, perhaps even suggesting separation. It feels as though, well, you're in a committed relationship, so let's communicate. Unless every moment before this felt devoid of meaning, engage in the conversation if you genuinely trust one another and determine if your faith in her remains intact. Are there springs within the baguette? That is the true inquiry. Are there vehicles? Is it more like a soft embrace or a delightful crunch? That's where my thoughts linger. Can it be consumed? The issue lies in the fact that baguette was the final word, suggesting that the mattress serves as the descriptor. That's precisely my point. It seems to be a baguette then. That is a mattress. That is a mattress. So tender. Indeed. Ah, the essence of memory, like a delicate baguette, warm and inviting. Indeed. A captivating experience awaits. Indeed, there isn't. There is not. Our next tale unfolds from the realm of relationship advice. This woman is 34 years old. My husband, who is 30, expressed that he doesn't find me attractive enough to stray from our bond. What lingers in the air? My husband expressed that he doesn't see me as someone who would tempt him to stray. My husband is stunning. It seems that everyone shares this sentiment. I see beauty in myself, yet I feel a sense of ordinariness. While my features may not fit the traditional mold of beauty, I embrace and enhance what I have been gifted. My skin radiates with care, and my body reflects the dedication I've put into my fitness journey, among other things. Yet, in the presence of my husband, I feel as if I could be a mere shadow. Even my own mother believed that my husband might be hiding something, perhaps a secret life, simply because he radiates a charm and allure that seems to eclipse my own. It's the first thing that captures attention when we step outside together. I've experienced women playfully engaging with him right before my eyes, and I've had 2 acquaintances attempt to connect with him when I wasn't aware. At times, I find myself wondering what draws him to me. Though I feel a twinge of insecurity, my husband has consistently expressed his love for me, affirming my beauty and choosing to disregard the opinions of others. Yesterday transformed everything. I unexpectedly crossed paths with a former college flame. We said our goodbyes with warmth, and it seems he's flourishing in both life and his professional journey. I'm seeking a new opportunity, and I have a strong sense of confidence in my abilities. We shared our LinkedIn profiles. Our conversation held a certain intimacy, and I would feel completely at ease with my husband present to witness it. The moment I stepped through the door, my husband ignited a disagreement. He mentioned he went through my LinkedIn message and insisted that my ex was showing signs of interest in me. I expressed that he wasn't. My husband playfully commented on my ex's appearance, and his words carried a weight that stung deeply, revealing a side of him I hadn't seen before. I gently asked him to pause, suggesting we could converse when the tension had eased. He inquired whether I would be disloyal if that man were to join my workplace. He scoffed, his words cutting through the air. "You're not attractive enough to cheat on me, not enough to keep me." I was left without a response, the weight of his dismissal hanging heavily. He then shut the door to our bedroom with a force that echoed, leaving me outside for the night. I found solace on the sofa, only to awaken later, enveloped in the warmth of the bed, a gentle surprise awaiting me. I can faintly recall him gently rousing me from sleep. This morning he was exceptionally tender, planting a soft kiss on my lips before heading off to work. The details of that moment linger in my mind, yet it feels as though I was observing it from a distance, as if my memory floated just beyond my reach. I've never heard him express anything like that before. It leaves me feeling unsettled and distressed. How should I approach him? How do I gently inquire about what was on his mind and what led him to say those things? Did he truly mean them? It's overwhelming. Oh, I can't help but feel a deep sense of compassion for this woman. On the surface, her self-esteem seems so low, whether due to this incident or other experiences. A troll? Really? Sweetheart, you have radiant skin, a stunning figure, and you've captured the attention of someone special. Clearly you possess a beauty that shines through. Listen closely. The intensity of his reactions suggests something deeper at play. It feels as though he might be hiding something. His sudden outburst of jealousy raises questions. Could it be a reflection of his own insecurities? It's intriguing how emotions can reveal hidden truths, don't you think? Oh, absolutely. He just immediately dismissed her, saying, "Oh well, you're right, you're not even attractive enough." Then he retreated to his room, locking the door behind him, like a little man-child. As the morning light breaks, he says, "Bye, babe," and I can't help but feel a twinge of discomfort. My first impression is that while she may seem insecure in her words, his response reveals a deeper vulnerability within him, far more pronounced than hers. It's fascinating to observe the vibrant energy of LA, where some of the most stunning individuals you could ever imagine reside. Yet, paradoxically, many of these alluring souls grapple with deep insecurities about their appearance. I once heard it articulated beautifully. Throughout their lives, they are often told that their beauty defines them. Consequently, if they ever sense a fleeting loss of that allure, it feels as though they are left with nothing at all. Their value seems diminished, tied solely to their looks. In contrast, those who don't perceive their worth in that way during their formative years discover richness in countless other aspects. Indeed, it appears to me that this individual has become so accustomed to constant admiration that it has fostered a profound sense of insecurity within him, almost as a peculiar counterbalance. One might assume that a lifetime of compliments would lead to an unwavering belief in one's own worth, which is indeed a possibility, yet it also unveils a contrasting dimension. It's intriguing, isn't it? The theory you mentioned seems to resonate here, as he unexpectedly introduced the topic of attraction. Amidst the playful exchanges, he suddenly declared that the allure wasn't sufficient for infidelity. a statement that felt both surprising and revealing. It appears that his focus is solely on outward appearances. Indeed, this is a reality. It feels like a means of exerting control, diminishing her self-worth so she questions her own value. Perhaps that was why he felt intertwined in this relationship, seeking a sense of superiority over her. It's striking, really. When you express something so impactful and then fail to acknowledge it, it leaves a lingering weight that's hard to overlook. It's as if the heart knows when it's been wronged. When someone dismisses your pain without a hint of remorse, it's a clear sign to move on. The aftermath of such moments reveals much about us. An apology can only go so far. Actions like shutting someone out linger in the mind long after the words have faded. The feelings evoked in those moments are etched in memory, shaping the connection in ways that can't be easily erased. Indeed, that will always linger softly in the background. Yes, indeed, appearances may diminish over time, yet a negative disposition lingers. It serves as a significant warning when someone can commit an act of cruelty or utter harsh words, only to act as if nothing transpired moments, hours, or even days later. It's troubling, isn't it? It's a significant concern. It leaves you wondering, did I perhaps overreact? Yes. As someone who experiences these moments, you find yourself questioning, was it really as troubling as I perceived? Especially when they seem so relaxed about it now. Indeed. Or perhaps I'm uncertain. It seems to evoke a sense of manipulation. Absolutely. It's as if you're left wondering, was I truly present? Did I conjure that moment? Was I perhaps drifting in and out of consciousness? Did I misread the signals? It leads you to reflect deeply on your own experiences. Especially when you share a bond with someone over time, nurturing trust and connection, you naturally lean towards believing that you both inhabit the same world, sharing the same truths. Indeed, it reveals a loss of that comforting assurance, that feeling of trust where you could rely on someone to guide you through the genuine moments or the missteps. Now that connection feels diminished. It also undermines the essence of what the relationship should embody, a harmonious partnership. Indeed, it's a space where, if we find ourselves at odds or feeling hurt, it becomes a shared journey, and I can't simply walk away and leave you behind. Yes, we must both be fully present in this, sharing our thoughts and feelings. Together we will navigate this journey. He understands the weight of his actions, yet he seeks to evade the consequences. It's like a soft, yielding surface, effortlessly absorbing the impact. Truly, he embodies that gentle resilience, my friend. Honestly, I feel a spark between us. Something beautiful is about to unfold. This initial remark is quite striking. As a therapist who has guided couples through the complexities of infidelity, I want to share two insights. First, there is no advantage based on appearance when it comes to matters of the heart and betrayal. Every day, those deemed attractive face betrayal, just as those who may not fit conventional standards do. The notion that your husband feels secure in his attractiveness, believing it shields him from infidelity, is simply unfounded. Your husband understands you deeply. He is aware of your vulnerabilities and knows exactly how to reach those sensitive areas. He recognizes your battles with self-confidence and, despite that knowledge, chose to press on that tender spot, leaving a mark that lingers. In a marriage, sharing our vulnerabilities with one another is essential. When he chose to wield your insecurities as a tool during an argument, it speaks volumes about his character and the depth of your connection. The hurt he caused with his thoughtless words runs deep. You find yourself not only doubting the connection shared between you, but also grappling with the challenge of opening up to your husband about your insecurities in the future. Therapist on Reddit. Feel the energy. Incredible. That's truly remarkable. When I see a therapist on Reddit, I can't help but wonder about their trustworthiness. It's astonishing how a 13-year-old could create something so compelling. It's hard to believe anyone would take it at face value, yet it truly is remarkable. That was truly captivating. It resonates deeply. Another person remarked, the facade fell away. Ultimately, it was expressed that a man who genuinely loves and cherishes you would never utter such words, particularly over a matter like that. His jealousy, while perhaps understandable, overshadowed any willingness to hear your perspective or allow for further discussion. It's a challenging truth to confront, and one that can evoke fear, but in a relationship, especially within the bonds of marriage, trust and a sense of ease are essential. Honestly, if you're experiencing any feelings of insecurity or jealousy, it's perfectly natural. The challenge lies in how you navigate those emotions. It's a bit like contemplating a job opportunity. There's a sense of uncertainty. And if he expresses discomfort because of his connection to your past, it's understandable, yet everything will be alright. And then she might have replied with a gentle, reassuring tone, saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. We can discuss this." It's not like anyone connects in that way on LinkedIn. But instead, he went straight to that. Right. So oof. That's disappointing as well because when I first immersed myself in the story, I felt a strong sense that he finds her incredibly beautiful. His attraction to her is palpable and the bond of marriage adds a deeper layer to their connection. Indeed, it's evident that there's an underlying power dynamic at play, one that allows him to bask in a sense of allure that he believes surpasses hers. Quite telling, isn't it? It would be captivating to witness them in person, as this reflects her own perception. Indeed, while she shares instances involving her husband, it's intriguing to note how many individuals possess a self-image that diverges significantly from the truth. Indeed, it seems there's a veil of uncertainty. Perhaps we should share our thoughts. As a therapist, please share a picture. As a therapist, I kindly ask you to send a picture. Would you send a picture, please? Our next story comes from relationship advice. A 28-year-old woman shares her concern. Her husband, who is 31, suspects infidelity because they went through a box of condoms. She wonders how to approach the topic without appearing defensive, especially since both she and her husband have a low libido. We seek moments of closeness perhaps once or twice a week on average. Because of this, our supply of condoms doesn't deplete quickly, or at least that was my impression. Recently, I took the initiative, and when I reached for an empty box, I informed him that we were out and would need to wait until tomorrow. He looked bewildered and asked how we could have possibly finished an entire box so quickly. I chuckled at first, but then I noticed the genuine concern in his eyes as he expressed that the numbers just didn't make sense. His words hinted at a deeper worry, suggesting that I might be deceiving him, as it seemed impossible for just the two of us to have consumed them all. Now I find myself feeling a wave of emotion wash over me. I have always been faithful, and the mere suggestion of betrayal stings deeply. I believed we were moving at a comfortable rhythm, yet he seems to feel otherwise. I even proposed discussing the timing to reassure him that we've adhered to our plans, but his lingering doubts remain palpable. I sense that he might be grappling with his own insecurities, or perhaps something deeper is at play. Yet, I find myself at a loss for how to approach this delicate conversation, especially when my own loyalty feels under scrutiny. Has anyone else navigated such a peculiar situation? How can I engage with him without coming across as defensive or inadvertently validating his concerns? I can't help but wonder what calculations were made. How many months would we go through those condoms? It seems like it could stretch to 6 months, considering 2 a week and 4 weeks in a month. That suggests a certain intimacy if you catch my drift. No way, perhaps he has 6. He's revealing them, placing them delicately on his skin, inflating it, creating a balloon. He places it over his head and fills it with air. Then he remarks, "I've never done that before." This is quite a surprising response. No. It seems like my partner struggles with numbers as well. Indeed, there are countless intriguing aspects to consider, yet we must delve into her reasoning for labeling it as low libido. Engaging twice a week is quite wonderful. Low libido once or twice a week. I'm choosing to be celibate, which leads me to ponder whether her husband expresses something similar to her. Perhaps he says we just don't engage in intimacy often, our desires are low as we only connect twice a week. Indeed, he seems to be losing track of how many he possesses. That mattress baguette of his, you understand? Yes. Indeed, it raises a question, doesn't it? What if he lacks understanding? It's a thought that lingers, and it's perfectly acceptable. It's alright to be a little foolish, but this response isn't acceptable. No, there's a certain toxicity in that foolishness. It's quite a disservice to her to assume that if she were disloyal, she would resort to using the same condom. Imagine those communal condoms casually placed in a bowl at the center of the room. Such a scenario speaks volumes about trust and intimacy. Could I have the house condom? It's a mix, is that alright? Sure, I don't mind. That's quite amusing. He's saying, "Darling, meet me at this hotel." And she's responding, "Just a moment, I need to head to the restroom." I'm not sure if this fits perfectly, but I find it intriguing how often the first thought that comes to mind is infidelity. It makes me wonder why that assumption arises so quickly. In my previous story, I reflected on this. Why leap to that conclusion without hesitation? It seems that those who have strayed often carry a certain wariness, and that dynamic is quite fascinating. I'm uncertain whether this is a recent occurrence or if it's something that's been developing over time. It really hinges on how long he chooses to hold on to this. It's quite a leap to make such a conclusion simply because of a lack of protection. There seems to be an underlying tension that he is grappling with. Perhaps he harbors suspicions of her fidelity, expressing his feelings in a roundabout way. I can't help but entertain a few theories, much like those found in the depths of online discussions. Her assuredness in stating their infrequent intimacy raises a few questions for me. His immediate suspicion lingers in the air, making me ponder if he thinks, perhaps, that our intimacy is fleeting, limited to just once or twice a week. The quickness of his doubt feels unsettling. I won't voice these thoughts as I only have this narrative to go on, but it does evoke a sense of unease, reminiscent of betrayal. Comments made once or twice a week certainly don't suggest a lack of desire. If you find yourself connecting twice a week regularly, you're likely surpassing the norm. He should clarify his feelings regarding your commitment. And I would express that directly. There's no need to fret over appearances. He disrespected you, leaving a significant impact on your marriage. It's his responsibility to address it, not yours. Another perspective suggests that rather than defending your actions, it may be more revealing to consider that if your husband suspects infidelity, it points to deeper issues within your marriage. The focus shifts from proving your loyalty to understanding the implications of such accusations. In the end, it was suggested that those who point fingers often harbor their own secrets. This seems to be a recurring theme in these Reddit tales. Tread lightly, OP. He may be revealing more about himself than he realizes. In truth, if he continues to cast blame your way, perhaps it's time to reflect that back onto him, particularly given his reluctance to discuss the timelines with you. There's a certain intrigue in this situation, and I can't shake my doubts about him. Understood. I find it unappealing, given this information. Understood. It seems the OP has replied to a comment, and I believe this provides the context I was seeking. She wrote, I'm going to begin noting the days we share intimacy. I dislike having to keep track, but he often nudges me after 3 days, suggesting it's been too long. I find myself gently reminding him that it truly hasn't been. I sensed it. He has somehow persuaded her that their desires are diminished. No. And bother too? No way. If there's a concern, it's evident that there are more graceful ways to approach it. Indeed. But rather in a way that feels more intimate. A gentle approach, like a soft whisper, inviting connection. I hope I'm mistaken. Yet, I can assure you if she discovers his betrayal, his response might be, well, you never share that intimacy with me. Undoubtedly. Indeed. Yes. That seems to be my impression as well. Why not? Very well. On to the next tale. This one is from Relationship Advice. What just happened? A man in his 40s shared this. I began to stray from my wife, who is 38, but I paused midway. Should I still confess? What does that signify? I halted halfway through. I only ventured a bit. Just halfway. I only indulged in a touch of temptation. Indeed. My wife and I share a wonderful bond filled with freedom and connection. Wonderful. Wonderful. My wife and I share a deep connection. I find it hard to express any genuine grievances. We have shared 5 beautiful years together, with 2 of those as a married couple. Until this moment, I would have confidently claimed that I would remain faithful. Last week, while I was away for work, I found myself in a hotel where a young woman, just 21, took a seat beside me and engaged in playful banter. Her interest was both surprising and deeply flattering, leaving me with a warm sense of intrigue. I must confess it was quite uplifting to receive attention from someone so youthful, especially as I navigate the changes of middle age and have felt a shift in my appearance. After some engaging conversation, she suggested we continue our time together in my hotel room, where a deeper connection unfolded. For me, it was exhilarating to feel the warmth of desire from someone outside my usual world, particularly from someone so vibrant and young. In a moment of indulgence, I found myself caught in the allure of youth, thinking it might be a rare chance. Yet, as the excitement faded, I came to a disheartening realization. The connection I sought was absent, and the experience fell short of my hopes. She simply reclined, arms and legs spread wide. Occasionally she would shift into a pose she believed to be alluring, yet that was the extent of her engagement. It felt as though she had little interest in me. In that moment, I felt almost like an accessory to her own allure, as if her focus was solely on her own captivating presence. Yet with my wife, the experience transforms into something extraordinary. When we connect, she envelopes me with her warmth, whispering sweet affirmations, her hands exploring, her energy igniting a dance between us that is both intimate and exhilarating. In the warmth of our shared space, I feel an undeniable confidence with my wife. Yet with her there was a sense of distance. I could slip away unnoticed, as if my presence held little significance. It felt as though she sought merely the thrill of being desired, rather than a genuine connection. I found myself unable to maintain the moment, and after about 10 minutes, I gently asked her to leave, which she did without hesitation. I took a cleansing shower and then reached out to my wife, seeking the comfort of her voice. Now that I'm back home, I've chosen to keep this experience to myself for the time being. There's a conflicted part of me that feels she deserves the truth, yet another part whispers that revealing it could shatter the joy we've built together, causing her unnecessary hurt over something I found unfulfilling and will never repeat. This experience has only deepened my realization of how much I cherish my wife above all others. I yearn to make the right choice, but I'm truly uncertain about what that is in this moment. I am resolute in my commitment to never stray again. Should I share my feelings or hold them close? It seems the moment has already shifted. You've already made a bold move. Plus, she took the initiative to come to your space. Oh no. It seems you have already welcomed her into your space, my dear. It appears the moment has passed. It's all set. I'm heading to your hotel room now. I can't quite predict how this will make me feel. Indeed. Indeed. Oh dear. I hope I can express my thoughts clearly. He seems to present it as if he paused midway, not out of guilt, but rather due to her shortcomings. Indeed. She lacked the spark in our intimate moments, prompting you to pull away. Then, a thought lingered in your mind. I suppose intimacy with my wife has its own charm. All the lovely qualities you're highlighting about your partner won't diminish the feelings for your king. I can only imagine how these remarks are affecting him, as if they're saying, you let it slip away, you lost something precious, you had it all. It's a shame you didn't see that sooner. There's no need to seek out someone else to realize the depth of your love for your wife. Hold on a moment. I find it hard to fathom that this man penned those words. It's truly astonishing. Incredible. At that moment he realizes and everything falls into place. It all becomes clear. As the moments pass, he finds himself with a fleeting 20 minutes. Yes, indeed. Yes. He understood it completely, as if he could feel the very essence of the moment. It was precisely that. He responds with indifference, and I feel a sense of finality. The guidance is unmistakable, leaving no room for ambiguity. That was. Tim, you're part of this. That was completely immersed. At a certain point, I removed my shirt, and you seemed uncertain. I imagined it might have concluded with the playful banter in the hotel room, where she was teasing him, and he responded with a hint of admiration, acknowledging her allure. I'm intrigued, caught in a moment of reflection. Then I pause, questioning my choices. I am committed, and I must halt here, recognizing the complexity of the situation. That situation embodies a profound level of emotional betrayal, yet he ascended the stairs and became intimate with her. There's no ambiguity. The moment he connects with her in any meaningful way, particularly as they approach the hotel room, it feels as though everything that follows becomes secondary. That was the choice you embraced. He had the chance to halt it right then. Yet, it lingers in the air. A deep conversation with your wife is essential. It seems like the situation is bound to be intense and challenging. He approaches it with a sense of detachment, questioning the value of honesty as if it would only complicate things further. Yet it feels as though he has already set the course for turmoil. You've already disrupted it. I believe the chances will diminish if you don't reach out to her. While I can't speak directly to this particular situation, my understanding of the research suggests that infidelity, particularly in the context of affairs, often leads to an unexpected sense of resentment within the one who strays. The partner remains unaware, creating a profound disconnect that can deepen over time, fostering a rift that may widen between the two individuals. It's challenging to truly let go and engage in a genuine relationship. It feels deeply unfair to her. The thought of him considering silence is troubling. It reveals a deeper truth. It transforms the experience entirely. This is truly disheartening. The guilt will blossom within him, a persistent shadow that lingers. It's a curious phenomenon. When one strays from the path, the mind wrestles with the choice, seeking to rationalize the misstep. In that struggle, the psyche begins to reshape itself, convincing itself that the transgression was somehow permissible. And now here you find yourself. It's as if these feelings blossom within us, reminding us that we must recognize and nurture the thoughts in our minds, tending to them as if they were delicate wounds within our very being, a kind of moral ache. We must pause and reflect, acknowledging that something feels amiss. I must recognize this and address it. It's evident that this individual is focused solely on his own desires. His infidelity reflects a deeper issue as he perceives intimacy as lacking or unfulfilled simply because he didn't reach a personal conclusion. Ultimately, it becomes a self-serving act. There are many troubling indications. Indeed. Let's explore the sentiments expressed in these comments. Oh, I'm filled with anticipation. This could be enlightening. It seems your only remorse about being with this other woman stems from her lack of skill and intimacy. If this 21-year-old brought an extraordinary experience that surpassed what you share with your wife, would you have pause to reconsider? Another perspective suggests that you didn't merely contemplate infidelity, you crossed that line. Framing it this way seems to soften the reality of your actions. Allow me to reiterate. You betrayed my trust. Remember, you mentioned that it didn't bring you joy, as you sensed her lack of genuine interest. Would you have felt remorse and still chosen to halt if you believed she was exceptional in intimacy? Once more you strayed. Ultimately, someone mentioned that you didn't cease your actions out of guilt for betraying your wife, but rather because you were let down by the experience. Your words carry a weight of truth. Had she been more fulfilling in that intimate space, perhaps your choices would have been different. The thought of straying from your wife never crossed your mind. Your wife deserves the truth about your actions. Pretending to spare her feelings only deepens the hurt. It's time to be honest with her. Whisper to her that your thoughts are a beautiful illusion. Absolutely captivating. Indeed, a perfect score. Absolutely perfect. That's the essence of the Reddit therapist. Indeed, every single one of them. Update. Oh, how delightful. I almost overlooked that. The anticipation is thrilling. Oh my goodness. Here we are. I faced quite a challenge on Reddit with my first post, so perhaps some of you will find joy in this update. Perhaps not. I found myself uncertain about whether to share with my wife what transpired after making the post. It wasn't out of selfishness as some have suggested, but rather a deep contemplation on the reasoning behind revealing something that could cause her pain when it was an isolated incident that would never repeat. Yet, I found myself reflecting on the thoughts of others who expressed a desire for honesty in such situations, and I couldn't help but resonate with their perspective. Ultimately, it became irrelevant, as my wife sensed that something was amiss just days after my return from the work trip. Such is life. Indeed, this individual doesn't quite exude cunning. Those who think they can escape their actions, whether they actually do or not, seem to embody a deeper kind of madness. Then you become something even deeper. What does that reveal about your essence? Indeed. Or perhaps you won't escape the consequences. No. This fellow could use a gentle nudge with a certain type of baguette. Indeed. My wife sensed a shift in me a few days after my return from the work trip. She gently mentioned how my silence and distant demeanor had caught her attention, her concern evident in her eyes and voice. In that moment, I felt compelled to share my thoughts with her. I wanted to ensure that our bond remained open and honest, free from any shadows of secrecy. I shared my deepest truths with her. Initially, doubt clouded her thoughts. She was convinced I had begun a relationship with another woman, yet she struggled to accept that I had chosen to end it or that the intimacy had lost its spark. I shared with her the Reddit post I had written, wanting her to understand that my words were not merely an attempt to escape accountability. As she read, tears began to fall, and then she uttered the phrase that has lingered in my thoughts endlessly since that moment. I loved you so much. Adored, a memory now. I inquired if she could truly let go of love so swiftly, and she affirmed. In mere moments I transformed from the one she cherished and envisioned a future with to merely another melancholic soul navigating a midlife turmoil. We spent the night in deep conversation, yet she remained steadfast. My proposal for marriage counseling or even personal support was met with resistance. I offered the idea of a brief week apart for reflection, but her decision felt resolute. We are in the process of parting ways, and for now I find myself in the spare room, allowing her to stay in our shared space. This is far from the path I envisioned. She is undeniably the woman I cherish, and that affection will linger in my heart. If I could turn back time, I would confine myself to my hotel room throughout the work trip, emerging only for the conference. I cling to the hope that she may eventually reconsider. The bond we share feels too profound to be diminished by a fleeting moment of misjudgment. It transcends that. It's a bit deeper than that indeed. Ordering a steak too rare can lead to unexpected moments. I can't believe I let that slip. No, I appreciated it. I hesitate to say it, but it seems like this could genuinely be someone who is simply unaware, perhaps lacking understanding of relationship dynamics or commitment. I'm not suggesting that this negates everything we've discussed, and I believe the wife is entirely justified, but still, the absurdity of him insisting, no, 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 darling, look, I made it public and showed everyone is striking. That's quite surprising. And she says you're on Reddit? Well, that changes everything for me. Once more, it feels as though there's an underlying disconnect that he simply doesn't grasp. This uncertainty casts a shadow over his assurance that he will never repeat this. Absolutely, completely. I understand your perspective, and it's challenging because this is a piece crafted by him. It's difficult to discern his true feelings, especially since he seems to be in a reflective stage, attempting to rationalize his actions not only to us but also to his wife. This leaves me pondering the authenticity of his words. Indeed, it raises questions. What truly transpired between him and this woman, particularly in that hotel room, remains a mystery. The challenge lies in his wife's predicament. She believed she understood him, only to find herself confronted with a different reality. That realization is undeniably difficult to bear. Some individuals seem to possess an innate understanding, a clarity that tells them when something has reached its conclusion. They realize that there's no path to redemption. She believed she was united with someone who would never betray her trust, only to discover that her perception was flawed. The person she thought she knew has revealed a different truth. So heartbreaking. It's one of those situations where infidelity exists in a strange realm. You're not taking a life, but in the context of a relationship, it feels as though you've shattered something precious. It feels like we're teetering on the edge of something intense, a moment where the stakes are intoxicated. I see it as a pivotal point, a testament to our dedication. Life is a dance of ups and downs, filled with missteps and lessons learned along the way. Yet, I find myself in a place where making a simple promise feels effortless, a gentle reminder to someone dear. This is a boundary, a line not to be crossed. I ponder their journey together, the years they've shared, and the depth of their bond. Perhaps they've walked this path for a decade and a half or even longer, weaving their lives into a tapestry rich with memories. 15 years ago, they exchanged that promise, filled with certainty, declaring they would never stray. But was it 5 years instead? Perhaps my memory dances around the details, weaving a different narrative in my mind. Have they shared their lives in marriage for around 5 years? 5 years. For 5 years. They have been intertwined in this journey for 5 years. Absolutely. It's intriguing how relationships can evolve over time. Some individuals find themselves in circumstances where they reflect on their feelings of inadequacy, perhaps due to a lack of communication. They may rationalize their choices, but I believe it's essential to establish personal boundaries. It's about honoring oneself and creating a sense of clarity in the midst of emotional turmoil. Indeed, it will bring about its end. Yes. Regardless of the allure of the moment, the outcome is destined to be unfavorable. Trust your instincts and simply decline. Indeed, that's the way. It's essential to find that clarity within yourself, isn't it? To understand your own worth and how far you might go in forgiving a partner if faced with a challenge. This woman appears to be in tune with her emotions, embracing her feelings as they arise. It's a fascinating journey, and indeed, each situation unfolds uniquely, especially when external influences come into play. And that often serves as a justification, like, oh, my judgment was clouded, and it's like, well, it's such a disappointing rationale. Yes. Indeed. It's a complex situation, isn't it? I find myself agreeing, yet I can't imagine accepting that. In this moment, the most challenging aspect is how quickly he comes to the realization and chooses to confide in his wife. He offers a heartfelt apology, expressing confusion about his past actions, as if he were lost in a moment. It leaves me pondering, what should I do next? It's a deeply personal journey, one that requires introspection and a genuine understanding of my own feelings. And at times, the depth of understanding only reveals itself through personal experience, which is indeed devastating. Yes. It's a relief that she has moved on from that situation, as he seems to be weaving a story for himself that feels distant from who he truly is. It seems she no longer recognizes him, and I'm truly glad she has found her freedom from it all. Yes, indeed. Indeed. To receive the revelation of betrayal, accompanied by a cascade of excuses and justifications, feels like a profound wound. It leaves one pondering the outcome had those words been absent. Yet perhaps the end would have been inevitable regardless. But it's definitely not the response you desire. No. Is it? This narrator is filled with uncertainty. Indeed. At this moment, it stirred something deep within me. From the wife's response, I sense that this situation is far more intense than we realize. Undoubtedly. Alright. The moment has arrived for our last tale, and I've been eagerly anticipating this one all day from our producers. How thrilling. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. This was shared on the Too Hot Takes subreddit. A heartfelt thanks to our friends at Too Hot Takes. Morky. Here we go. Did he betray my trust, or did I unknowingly embrace a risk from a koala? Absolutely. Here we are, diving into Reddit stories with Smosh. Yes, this is the essence of our journey. This is a 27-year-old woman. My husband, who is 28, and I have shared 5 beautiful years together after a long friendship that began in my teenage years. We are blessed with 2 sons, and this story unfolds in March of 2020 when I was 3 months into my pregnancy with our second child. I attended my follow-up appointment after the ultrasound hinted at some concerns. Anticipating the worst, I was met with a gentle reassurance from my GP, who noted something unusual regarding my fallopian tubes. Thankfully, the baby was fine, and they suggested further blood tests and swabs for clarity. When the results arrived, my GP urgently requested my presence. It was in that moment she revealed the test had come back positive for chlamydia. A wave of disbelief washed over me, and my GP, aware of my long-standing relationship with my husband, shared in the gravity of the news. She had been my doctor since the birth of my first son, familiar with every detail of our journey. With a directness that caught me off guard, she inquired about the nature of our relationship, and I responded affirmatively, feeling the weight of the moment. She shared the details of the treatments and prescriptions, gently explaining that my husband would also need to be tested to confirm, as he too might require care. Her gaze held a hint of sympathy, and I could sense the unspoken thoughts lingering between us. My partner betrayed my trust and left me with an uninvited reminder of that betrayal. Anger and sorrow swirl within me, but I retreat to the warmth of a hot shower, washing away the weight of it all. As I settle into our home, the family photo on the wall feels like a haunting echo of what once was, and I pick up the phone to call him. He is at work, and I find myself in tears on the phone, sharing the news from the doctor that I've tested positive for chlamydia. How could you do this to me? The weight of it all is overwhelming. I hang up and his calls flood in, but I need to gather myself. I have to pick up our son from daycare and somehow maintain my composure as a mother. I let his calls fade into silence, moving through my day with a heavy heart. As I prepare dinner for our son, he walks in, his presence filling the room. He drops his belongings with a forceful clatter, the sound echoing against the walls. He notices our son in my arms and strides into the bedroom, the door closing with a force that echoes in the silence. The sound of the shower begins to fill the space, leaving me in a swirl of confusion and deeper hurt. I'm not sure what I anticipated, but this certainly wasn't it. After I complete the feeding and bedtime routine, I gently lay him down to sleep. It's around 8 p.m. now, and fatigue washes over me, yet I find myself drawn to the room where my husband sits on the bed, his head cradled in his hands, tears streaming down his face. I approach him gently, my voice steady as I express my disbelief at the pain he has caused our family. I tell him about the STD, urging him to seek testing and treatment. He lifts his gaze to meet mine, his eyes a vivid reflection of anguish, and in a moment of raw emotion, he accuses me of being twisted for my actions, turning the blame back on me. I have always valued loyalty, and the thought of betrayal feels deeply unsettling. It pains me to think of causing hurt to someone I cherish. Yet, he insists he has remained faithful, and our disagreement culminates in waking our son, prompting me to tend to him gently. As I stepped outside, I found him with a bag in hand, ready to go. He mentioned he needed some time with his parents. And then he was gone. I wept through the night, and the following weeks felt like a torment. The truth emerged, and we found ourselves pointing fingers, lost in a whirlwind of emotions. It reached a moment where I found myself questioning whether separation was the answer, as resolution seemed elusive with neither of us willing to take responsibility. He promised to provide clarity once the paternity test confirmed the truth of the life I was nurturing within me. We took the steps to uncover the reality, and inevitably, the results revealed that it was indeed his child. We sought therapy, yet it never truly brought resolution. He returned home, and the weight of our shared past, intertwined with my deep affection for him and the desire to keep our family whole, played a significant role in my choice to embrace the reality of his infidelity, even as he remained unaccountable. We simply carried on with our lives. My feelings for him ran deep, and a part of me believed that his confession would only complicate things further. I would find myself yearning for names, faces, and every little detail, and it was overwhelming. As the days turned into months, I found a sense of peace in letting it go. Now, more than 2.5 years later, Adam is lost in the world of TikTok when a reel featuring Robert Irwin catches his attention. He speaks passionately about the significant danger chlamydia poses to koala populations. I swear if a light bulb appeared in his head, it would have illuminated from his ears as I watched him begin to connect the dots. He has now reached the conclusion that he believes he transmitted chlamydia to me, but insists it wasn't through infidelity. Back in mid to late 2019, Queensland was engulfed in significant bushfires. In Australia, during the month of September, Adam and I found ourselves at the Bohemian Beat Freaks Festival. As we journeyed towards our campsite, we encountered a heartwarming sight: numerous koalas, displaced yet resilient. The festival's fate had hung in the balance, threatened by the fires that had raged nearby in the weeks leading up to our arrival. By the roadside, we encountered koalas, weary and in need of care. We decided to stop, and Adam offered them some water. One small creature, clearly parched and fatigued, clung to my partner's arm as he sipped, a tender moment of connection amidst the warmth of the day. And yes, Adam gently lifted the koala into his embrace. In a surprising turn, the koala let go, leaving a warm mark on his shirt and arm. We shared a laugh, carefully moved him off the road, and carried on our journey. In the heart of the bush, the festival offered only paid showers. We had decided to wait until the final day to indulge in one. He removed his shirt, letting the warmth of the sun embrace his skin as he rinsed his hands with bottled water. We arrived and set up camp, then lost ourselves in the festivities of a party, leaving thoughts of the koala behind. During those days, we shared intimate moments frequently. Reflecting on it now, I see how it might come across, but that's simply the essence of Aussie bush doofs. In our youth as parents, we found ourselves with a rare moment away from our son. Curiosity led us down a winding path of research, revealing the surprising truth that, indeed, koalas can transmit it. What a revelation! Adam swiftly arranged an appointment at our GP's office. We arrived and shared our concerns, and even she concurred with him, acknowledging that it was indeed possible for the STD to have originated there. We had been completely asymptomatic, so it was conceivable that we had it since that time, only for it to be discovered during my pregnancy. Now that we have clarity, my husband embraces it wholeheartedly. He believes it all aligns perfectly, and I can sense the transformation in him. He feels more at ease with me, more open, yet a lingering part of me, having once suspected infidelity, remains. Our relationship has endured through the years, though I must confess it has felt strained. The intimacy we once shared has faded, and we found ourselves caught in a cycle of jealousy and suspicion, always on edge when apart. He would often reassure me, saying I could be honest and he would still love me, yet those words sometimes ignited conflict. Friends who once stood by us have drifted away, believing one of us was disloyal while the other foolishly held on. We discovered the importance of safeguarding this aspect of our lives to steer clear of unnecessary complications. Since this revelation, it feels as though my husband has transformed once more. He has returned to the tender, devoted, and compassionate man he used to be before all of this began. He has embraced this explanation with surprising ease. Yet, I find myself grappling with the reality that my husband did indeed transmit chlamydia to me, and from a koala no less. How do we navigate the tangled web of emotions that has woven itself between us and step into a space of health and trust? In many ways, I still feel as if he has betrayed me, and the weight of uncertainty lingers. Unless he offers a different narrative, I may never find the closure I seek, and this all feels too neatly tied up to truly bring me comfort. I'm left in a haze of confusion. It may seem unusual, but this has been my reality for almost 3 years, with this new information adding to my stress over the past 6 months. Let's pause for a moment and share a collective breath. Yes, let's linger in that feeling for just a second, everyone. Let's embrace the essence of koalas. Yes, let's cherish that moment together. It feels right. Oh my, how delightful. Wow. Indeed. Yes. I'm feeling a bit intrigued. I've visited Australia, yet I don't have a deep understanding of it. Wouldn't it be something for a doctor to mention, by the way, we also have koalas here? Indeed. And they all carry that burden. Yes. It's hard to believe that after 2.5 years, there was no further exploration into this. How could I have contracted chlamydia? It's a question that lingers. Surely, a simple search could have provided clarity. To be honest, aside from koalas, there's really only one avenue to consider. I had a sense that koalas were carriers of chlamydia, especially after that incident where one seemed to leave its mark on him. And he remained unwashed. And he remained unwashed. Indeed, they intertwine like koalas in their playful embrace. Indeed. I appreciate it. There's been so much that has unfolded. Indeed. It's like encountering a wild creature. If it leaves its mark on you, it's wise to seek assurance from a doctor to ensure you're in good health. Oh, indeed. How captivating. It's all quite intriguing. I was simply going to say intriguing. Indeed, truly? Yes. It truly is intriguing. This story captivates the imagination, revealing how they spent 3 years entwined in the belief that they had betrayed one another, even though they likely hadn't. Quite the emotional journey indeed. And does that not inflict the same hurt as actual harm as if it had truly occurred? Indeed. They also glimpse the consequences of betrayal between them. As they navigate through this challenging time, it's clear that couples therapy is essential for them. The journey they've experienced has been quite tumultuous. We previously mentioned that when infidelity occurs, there are often signs that can be perceived. If he had been caught or revealed in such a manner, it seems likely that you might have sensed something amiss within him. Indeed. He seems to embody either the art of manipulation or the unfortunate fate of a koala, perhaps marked by an unexpected encounter. It's intriguing to consider that the koala might be the more apparent explanation. Indeed, the koala feels more credible to me at this moment. There's a comment here that catches my attention. Curiosity led me to explore and I found the truth behind it. For those who prefer not to delve into the search themselves, here's what I discovered. Indeed, koalas have the potential to transmit chlamydia to humans. This condition is a prevalent sexually transmitted disease among people, while a distinct strain of the bacteria affects koalas. The transmission can occur through contact with the urine or feces of an infected koala. Now a different strain. It still appears on the tests and the doctors inquire about chlamydia. Does that imply it is the same chlamydia, or could it be a different one? It's still chlamydia after all. It's merely a different variation. I'm uncertain if the doctor's tests are focused solely on the human aspect, or if they encompass the broader spectrum of humanity. There is certainly a significant emphasis on the koala aspect. We have one additional thought. A previous remark mentions a different strain in koalas. Could the lab clarify which strain they identified if they still possess the results? Would that strain even be detectable on a human STD panel? I believe more therapeutic support is essential at this time. It appears that time is essential as you navigate this fresh shift in your reality. The pain you both have carried for years is genuine, and your body remains unaware that it may stem from something untrue. Opie replied, I'm uncertain, but this is a question I plan to bring up with my GP next. If there are various strains, they must reveal themselves in a test. I believe I may have finally discovered the definitive answer I've been seeking. Thank you. Update. Oh my goodness. I truly appreciate it. Oh dear. I was truly yearning for us to uncover this answer. Oh dear. Apologies, I haven't come across any information. If it's not about koala chlamydia, then there was. If it's not koala-mydia. If it's koala-mydia, then it feels like betrayal. If it isn't, then the stakes rise even higher, reaching a point of intensity that feels almost overwhelming. 3 years later, he stumbled upon an excuse on TikTok and realized something profound. In that moment, he lowered his gaze and let tears fall, concealing the truth from her. It's truly remarkable. And the koala chose that moment to relieve itself upon him. Oh my, what a surprise. Alright, let's hear the story unfold. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the koala. As it steps forward, a longing to hold and embrace it fills the air. What are your thoughts? Koala chlamydia or the usual kind? I find delight in the playful. So, I'll place my wager on koala-mydia. Sounds good. Then I suppose I must take the contrary stance. I believe the man possesses an extraordinary ability to influence others. The choices before us are far from ideal. Not at all. That's not the case. All right. Last evening, I took a moment to sit with my husband and share the depths of my feelings now that the truth has come to light. I expressed the hurt we've both endured through our accusations and misunderstandings. I offered my heartfelt apologies for my role in our struggles, reaffirming my love for him and the joy I felt in finally finding peace, knowing there is nothing but us moving forward. And then he begins to fidget, a storm of emotions brewing within him, and confesses that he strayed. The lightness of whimsy has vanished. Yes, I understand. But he still insists he didn't give me the STD, he says. In the months, oh no. In the months following that revelation, our relationship found itself in a tumultuous state. During the time he wasn't at home, he sought solace elsewhere and shared a fleeting encounter with someone from a nearby pub. He conveyed that he truly thought I had been disloyal. After a few drinks, he made the choice to bring our connection to a close. In doing so, he sought solace in the arms of another, as if to express his feelings in a way that stung. He was filled with doubt, convinced that our baby wasn't his, leaving him in a fragile state. Yet, the following day when we met, it was then that I found the courage to suggest we part ways. In that moment, he was overcome with a sense of regret, as if the weight of unspoken truths hung in the air between us. He made a choice to remain, contingent upon the results of a paternity test that would reveal the baby's true parentage. He believed that if I chose to keep my secret, he too would guard his silence, creating an unspoken bond of complicity between us. He finally opened up to me, recognizing the weight of his past choices and wishing he could erase them, yet time moves forward, leaving him with a lingering sense of remorse. When I inquired about the girl, he mentioned only knowing her first name, claiming their connection was fleeting and insignificant, a mere whisper in the fabric of his life. But my goodness, this is overwhelming. Remember how I mentioned in my post that my husband had returned to his tender ways? Well, now I understand the reason behind it. He was attempting to atone for his mistakes, while others were frustrated with me for not immediately embracing the idea that my STD might have originated from a koala. Yet I can't shake the feeling that a part of me always understood this truth. Perhaps that's the reason I clung so tightly. Everything seems so empty now. I feel a heaviness within me. Here I am on this park bench watching our sons play, yet I find myself at a loss. The thought of betrayal weighs heavily. It's something I cannot overlook, and I've always remained true to my heart. I never thought of seeking retaliation against him. So why did he choose to hurt me? My heart aches and a part of me longs for the days before everything changed. I can't tear my family apart. We share 2 children, 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 cars, and a home filled with memories. It feels overwhelming, and I find myself at a loss for how to navigate this moment. He had the chance to share this with me 6 months ago when we first learned of this new possibility, yet he chose to remain silent. He held back until I bared my soul in an apology, only then revealing his truth. I can't meet his gaze at this moment, and he senses it. I suppose I'll take a few days to reflect before making a decision, but deep down I think I'll choose to stay.